Coming up on today's Alabama Football Report, a lot of recruiting updates and information as Kalen DeBoer's staff now gets to move forward on the recruiting side of things. And we'll discuss Clay Travis's anti-DeBoer comments. Now, if you can't wait for A-Day, then like the video right now. The goal here is to get to 500 today. 500 likes is our goal on today's video. There's going to be a lot more than 500 people who watch it. So let's make sure we get there on today's video. First up, Junior Day has been rescheduled for Alabama. They're going to host it on February 3rd, just a few days from now. Originally, this was going to be on January 20th. Well, as things turn out, Nick Saban retires. That has to be pushed back. So there are going to be a bunch of recruits who are going to come on the 20th. They're coming on the 3rd. Other guys, for example, like quarterback Julian Lewis, are going to reschedule for a different date because they had that on their calendars and it changes. And now they already had stuff on the 3rd. So you're juggling the gymnastics of high school lives, etc. All right, some Junior Day visitors we want to discuss and mention on today's show. First up, 4-star safety Jordan Young. Now, Young is a highly ranked 4-star recruit. He's, again, in class of 2025, 57th overall, the number 5 safety, the number 2 player from the state of North Carolina. Always good to poach top 2, top 3 players, whatever, in state, especially in the South. Deshaun Lee is next up here, the 5-star corner. I'll make note, hope I'm pronouncing all these names correctly. There aren't very many good high school pronunciation guides as things turn out. Number 24 overall, the number 1 player from the state of California. By the way, kind of a down class for California early on. Only number 24 is for the number 1 ranked player. Doesn't normally happen that way. He's the number 5 corner. Then on offense, 4-star wide receiver Marcus Harris, another Matter Day high school player. Turns out they keep churning out good recruits. Number 9 in the state of California. He's the number 10 ranked wide receiver. 86th overall. Again, I'll also make note, everything's going to change because it's still early on in the recruiting process. Dalen Upshaw here, the 3-star wide receiver. Number 619 overall. Kind of nice, but not as nice maybe as you'd like. At a Central High School in Alabama, the 90th ranked receiver. Bama, I think, has a pretty good track record of figuring out which guys in the state are going to end up being good players because maybe it's just easier for them. Who is your favorite 2025 recruit? Maybe it's someone who was committed to Alabama, already is committed, or maybe decommitted recently. We'll spend some time on those guys, too, in today's video. But sound off for me in the comments section. Jaden Perlow, next up here at a Buford High School in Georgia. They've had some good players in recent years, Buford has. Go figure. 54th overall, the number 6 linebacker, 8th ranked player in the state, by the way. Another wide receiver, C.J. Wiley, the 4-star playmaker at a Milton High School in Georgia. A nice round, even number 300 overall player, the 35th ranked wide receiver, and the 36th ranked player from the state of Georgia. Let's go to 4-star linebacker Miles Johnson. He is, by the way, an Alabama commit, so a player they would like to keep on the board, or on the books, I should say, from that perspective. 16th ranked player in the state, 274 overall, and the number 32 ranked linebacker in that class. Again, knowing things will change. Of note is, I think we might get some favorite recruit answers for this guy. Jamie French is set to revisit Alabama in the spring. He has been formally re-offered. Obviously, Jalen Mbakwe helps recruit Ryan Williams. Now Ryan Williams helping to recruit Jamie French. 5-star player, number 12 overall, the number 3 wide receiver, and the number 2 player from the state of Florida after he had decommitted from Alabama. Florida State, Miami, and Ohio State had been among the top 3 schools, I should say, on his list. Now, I think Bama still has a chance here. If I were French, I also would have decommitted because the head coach changed. You got to adjust there. Maybe Bama could pull off another one there. Also worth mentioning, 3 schools that aren't afraid to spend NIL. I mean, did you guys see what Ohio State did this year? Now, a lot of those guys, they were retaining players, but they were approaching $17 million spent on NIL. I know that will upset some of you. The reality is it's not going to change anytime soon. once the open market has been opened, it's really tough to close it. The NCAA made their errors and mistakes by not taking control of things earlier on and making progress in that area, and then, well, the floodgates open. Would you like to cap NIL, though, in a hypothetical world? Y for yes and for no in the comments. Some more visits here that are worth mentioning. Offensive lineman Jackson Lloyd was in Tuscaloosa this weekend. He was one of the first offers from this new coaching staff, as another West Coast kid I think DeBoer has maybe some more familiarity with, and his staff does as well. Number 341 overall, the number 31 offensive tackle, and the number 30th ranked player from the state of California. More recruiting notes to come, but as a reminder, Bama jerseys are on sale. Chatsports.com/Alabama jersey. You can customize it or make it for the alumni players. A lot of those are on sale. Bryce Young, one of the big name players, of course. Hopefully a better upcoming season in the NFL for him. Chatsports.com/Alabama jersey. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Another offer here is 2025 Washington defensive lineman commit Josiah Sharma, who is not yet ranked by the recruiting services. Given his notable offers list of Washington, Alabama, Arkansas, Ole Miss, and USC, I wonder who's more wrong, all of the good programs or the recruiting services? I'm going to go with that one that'll eventually get caught up on. They're always playing up to how the media angle works. He'll end up probably being a pretty decently highly rated recruit. Good indigo poll, given the connections to Kalen DeBoer, the now Bama head coach. All right, Clay Travis has made some rather aggressive comments about Alabama. First off, saying that he thinks Kalen DeBoer will be fired within 4 years as Alabama's head coach, which is noteworthy to me because it turns out Clay Travis does still talk about sports these days. Of course, noting he is a big Tennessee fan who is to blame for the hiring of Jimmy Pruitt because he didn't want Greg Schiano in there. Might have been okay there. Anyway, here's what Clay said about Kalen DeBoer. About, does he strike fear in anybody? He says 0. That is the answer because Kalen DeBoer will be fired in about 4 years. Alabama fans are going to have completely unrealistic expectations. What I think the Bama fans are going to realize, I think a lot of them already knew this, but are now seeing it even clearer, is Alabama didn't have a dynasty. Nick Saban had a dynasty. Now, Clay Travis is in the reaction business, and he's had a very successful career doing that, by the way. My expectation, producer Chris agrees, first-round playoff win. The national championship is always the goal. Only one team can win it. Only 2 teams can make it. If that is the demanded expectation every single year, and otherwise it's a failure if it does not happen, especially with Nick Saban not there, then Clay's right. The expectations are out of whack for Alabama. Natties are going to be harder to win without Nick Saban. We all knew that going in. It's frankly, I would argue, even harder to win with a 12-team playoff. Got to win more games to make it happen against the best competition. It is going to be easier to give yourself a chance, but the individual chances has dropped. The odds of being alive come December, much higher. The odds of really actually winning the whole damn thing, they drop a bit. And I do think Kalen DeBoer should strike some fear. Not as much as Nick Saban has, but he just had Washington in the national championship game. Are we really going to forget that? Washington, by the way. Like it's an elite program. They've done a nice job, and Kalen DeBoer gets credit. He elevates his players. We've seen that. He took a not-so-great Huskies program after the disaster that was Jimmy Lake, which I was surprised by the way. I thought he'd be good. Didn't work out at all. And now he had great success. Now the playing field's going to be a bit more level. He's going to face tougher competition. He should be able to build better rosters as well. The portal's going to reopen. He's going to get a full recruiting class. Those have to be executed by DeBoer, but I think he can do it. Now, we will have more Alabama football YouTube videos for you all season and off-season long, so don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/@RollTideTV.